what's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Muay Diaz Combat Pubcast. It's Thursday, January 22nd, and yes, we are 2 days away from UFC 324 live from Las Vegas at the T-Mobile Arena. I am less than 24 hours away from getting on that plane, getting the hell out of DFW before this ice snowstorm hits, and I will be landing in Viva Las Vegas tomorrow evening and ready to go, man. I cannot wait for this weekend. It's a great weekend of fights in the UFC. We have the first Zuffa boxing show Friday. Depending on when we get there, I think we will land in Vegas around 5 p.m. So once we get into the rooms and, you know, get our roulette bets on red, 100 on red every time like we always do, then we're going to try to figure out if we can make some moves to get to the Zuffa boxing event at the Fountain Blue. So I'm going to go over a couple things today. You know, we have the UFC press conference, the Mario Barrios, Ryan Garcia press conference, Clapback Thursday, of course, from Oscar, and a couple other things. The way I have my run sheet down, I had the UFC press conference first, but I'm going to start with the Mario Barrios, Ryan Garcia press conference and what I got out of it. So it was, I don't want to say it was a circus because I've seen worse. You know, we've seen the old Floyd press conferences and how wild they get. This one was not too wild, but a couple of things, man. So the first thing I got out of it, Ryan was super amped up, right? He was super amped up. He was in his feelings. He was acting a fool the whole time. He was crying about Joe Goosen, training Mario Barrios for this fight. He's like, I'm hurt. You know, you broke my heart, all this. His father, Henry, mentioned it as well. But he did it with more class, you know, saying that he respected him for training his son. But it did hurt him that he was going to train Mario Barrios for this fight. Ryan dipped out on the handshake, you know, moved his hand when Mario Barrios actually went to shake his hand and threw like a receipt at him or something. And then the shirts that say Joe Goosen on the front and then Trader on the back. Just a lot of childish activities going on. I'll say it like that. Ryan looked good. He looked like he was actually invested into this fight, which is a good thing because I think this is going to make it a better fight. You know, the way he was in the press conference on the lead up to the Rolly fight, he was very like not invested, I would say. He said that he wasn't invested in the everything that happened with the Devin Haney fight. And, you know, after the fight with the PEDs and all that really got to him and kind of broke his spirit inside. And he wasn't really, he said that they forced the fight. Not forced it, but they wanted him to get in the fight with take the fight with Rollies. And that he wasn't really like up for that fight. And he said the performance reflects that. But I had initially picked Ryan for this fight. But after seeing the press conference and the stare down, I think I'm going to switch my pick, man. I think Mario Barrios is going to beat Ryan Garcia and retain the WBC title. You know, before I jump ahead to that, I want to address the Joe Goosen comments because Joe Goosen was at the podium, spoke very classy about the whole situation. And the thing that people have to remember is Joe Goosen didn't leave Ryan Garcia. Joe Goosen didn't go out of his way to train Mario Barrios. After the Tank Davis fight, when Ryan got beat, he made a decision to leave Joe Goosen and not train with Joe Goosen anymore at Ten Goose Gym. And then Mario Barrios, after the last fight with Manny, I think his team knew he needed to make some adjustments and make a move, and they found Joe Goosen. And so at the end of the day, Joe Goosen is a trainer. That's his job. He's not making big paydays as a fighter. He still has to train people. He still has to make a living. You know, he has a family, he has a wife. And a lot of people are going to say, yeah, it's shady, you know, for him to go and train someone else to fight Ryan because he used to train Ryan. You guys, this happens a lot more than you think, you know. And it wasn't like Joe Goosen was like, I'm leaving Ryan to go train Mario to fight Ryan. It didn't happen like that, you know. They had already been split since the Tank fight, and that was like 2.5 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. So I think Ryan was just looking for like the sympathy from the fans, like, oh, my former coach is turning his back on me and he's training someone else to beat me, to fight me. I don't think it's nothing like that. It's a business at the end of the day, and we all know the business of boxing can be as dirty and nasty as any game in the world, as anything, as cutthroat as any businessman on Wall Street can be. Boxing, the business of boxing can be that nasty. But this was not a nasty move in my opinion. I think Joe Goosen, he was chilling at the house. He gets a phone call from Mario Barrios' camp. They want to make the move. Of course, he said it himself. Why wouldn't I want to train the welterweight champion of the world? Mario Barrios is the WBC welterweight champion of the world. So, but now getting back to the stare downs. When they stared down, and Ryan had already said he was at 154 pounds. This fight is at 147. It's still a month away. It's February 21st. We're January 22nd. So just under a day, under a month away. If Ryan is already at 154 to make 47, Mario Barrios looked enormous next to him. He was standing over him. So it's going to be a fight that Ryan's not used to because he's usually the taller, lengthier guy when he fights, when he was fighting at 40 and 35. Mario Barrios is bigger than him, taller than him, and probably has, I don't know if I'm going to go as far as say he's going to have the bigger power, but that's his natural weight. So Barrios is going to cut the weight. He'll make 47, and he will probably rehydrate at least back up to 160. So he will be a middleweight on fight night. If Ryan's already at 54 and makes the weight to 47, he might rehydrate back up to 54, 55. Barrios, at the minimum, is going to come in at 60. He might come in at 65. This is the biggest person that Ryan's ever fought. Left hook or not, he's going to have his hands full because Barrios, as we all know, comes to fight. And he is a warrior, and he will be there from the first bell to the last bell unless you're Tank Davis and you can stop him, you know. So I'm very interested in this fight. I'm looking forward to it. This got me hyped up. It was a bit of a circus. Mario Barrios called him a payaso, which means clown in Spanish. So, you know, the tension's already there. The tension between Joe Goosen and Ryan and his camp is there. These are all things that are going to make for a great fight. A good storyline leading up to a big fight of two guys. I don't think Barrios is in his ultimate prime right now. He's probably past his peak and he's on his way down, but he's still got the title. And this fight is going to have some major consequences. Whoever wins this fight between Ryan and Barrios, whoever wins is going to get Conor Benn. Conor Benn has already said that the WBC is allowing him to step in to take on the winner, which is fucking crazy because Virgil Ortiz is the interim WBC champion, you know. And if the fight gets made between Virgil and Boots, which I hope it does, they're going to be open to fight the winner of this fight or the Conor Benn. If Conor Benn does get the next shot, that'll be a huge fight between either Virgil and Conor Benn or Virgil Barrios, Boots Barrios, Boots Ben. You got Haney has the WBO title. Rolly still has the WBA title that he took after he beat Ryan, which was in Times Square card. So, and he still hasn't defended it yet. And then you have Lewis Crocker, who's holding the IBF. I think if Rolly's smart, he'll ask for the Lewis Crocker fight to try to unify those titles. If the fight doesn't get made between Boots and Virgil, you give Boots Haney for the WBO title. If Conor Benn doesn't get the mandatory like he's saying, you give Virgil the winner of Barrios Ryan. Oh my God, 147 is fucking on fire right now. Like, this is what gets me excited when boxing is clicking on all cylinders and you have a weight division as exciting as 147 at welterweight. With all these big names in there, you know, Barrios, Haney, Rollies, Boots, Virgil, Conor Benn's coming back down to 47. Like, man, there are so many great fights to be made at 47. Like, I cannot wait, you know, and this fight coming up in February between Ryan and Barrios is going to just be the first of many to come throughout the year with all these big names coming in the mix. Like, I cannot wait. It's going to be a great, great year of boxing at 147 pounds, man. Let's see, the next thing, I'm gonna keep it on boxing for this episode. I'm gonna keep it on boxing. The news: Deontay Wilder versus Derek Chisora. Derek Chisora signed the contract already. I'm not sure if Wilder is officially signed yet, but that's a very interesting fight because there was rumors that Deontay Wilder was wanting to fight Alexander Usyk, because he's one of the bigger names that hasn't fought Usyk yet. Like I think I said it in a previous video, Wilder and Ruiz are the only two other former world champions who Usyk hasn't fought yet. But I think this is a great matchup. I didn't think Wilder had a fucking snowball's chance in hell on beating Usyk, which many heavyweights don't have anyways. But with Wilder's limited ability inside the ring against a masterclass technician like Alexander Usyk, I thought it was just going to be like walking a lamb to slaughter. So I'm glad that they made this fight. I think this is a more interesting fight. They asked Tyson Fury what he thought because he's fought both guys 3 times. He fought Wilder 3 times, Chisora 3 times. He's beat Wilder twice. The first one was a draw, and he's beat Chisora all 3 times. He's picking Chisora. I think I'm going to... Oh, man, I don't know. I want to think if they were in their prime, say if this fight happened 5 years ago, Wilder all day, because he has the eraser. We all know that. That right hand, man, can knock anyone out, man. I mean, when I think of Wilder, before he ran into Tyson Fury, I don't know if you guys ever remember this scene from Avengers Endgame when the Hulk goes back to try to get one of those stones from that bald lady, and she hits him in the chest and his fucking soul flies out of his body. That's what Wilder was doing to people. He was hitting them, and you could just see their soul fly out of their body. He had that God-given power. Like, Deontay Wilder has Thor's hammer in his fucking right hand. Like, anyone he touched just went to sleep, went to bed, lost consciousness. I mean, he didn't even have to hit you square. Like, I remember when he fought King Kong, he hit him in the fucking forehead and knocked him out. Like, dead in the forehead, KO. Right? But I think the 3 fights against Tyson Fury really took it out of him. I think it took a lot of, not just, you know, showed him that he has a lot to work on if he really wants to be at the top of the hill again, but he was outclassed technically against Fury, and he got out-hearted in that fight, in those 3 fights, because he knocked down Fury in all those 3 fights except for the second one. I believe, was it the second one? He knocked him down in the first. Of course, he knocked him down twice in the first. We all remember the second one when he rose back from the dead in the 12th round like The Undertaker. Gets up, wins that round, and then still scored a draw somehow. I don't fucking know how that happened. And then the third fight, he gets dropped, hurt bad. Fury still comes back and finds a way to get the KO in the 11th round. I don't remember if he got dropped in the second, but I believe he did. No, he didn't. The second one was just the absolute demolition of Deontay Wilder. But I think he got out-hearted in those fights and outclassed just technically. You know, Tyson Fury, say what you want about what he looks like. He is an absolute boxing technician when you put him inside the 4 ropes, man. I mean, he's one of the best to do it, you know. And that just shows you how great Alexander Usyk is, because he was able to beat him twice and nearly stop him in the second fight. But I think Chisora still got some dog in him. And Wilder is past his prime. I truly believe it. I think he's a little washed. We saw in the Big Bang fight, Big Bang Jang, and he got stopped in that fight. It's just, I don't know if he's up to it anymore. I don't know if he's got the fire to come back and make a world title run again after you've gone through so much like he has. So I want to go Wilder on this fight. I think he might still be able to find a way to land that right hand, but I'm sure Chisora, knowing Fury as he does, he's going to get tips. He's going to come prepared, make it ugly like he needs to. He can't stay at length and let Deontay, time him up with that right hand. So he's going to have to get in there and just be a vintage Chisora, ugly guy, ugly fight, get in there and make it dirty. If it goes decision, I go Chisora on this fight. So I'm going to end it there. I'm going to keep this one on boxing. I'm going to do another episode right quick and go over the UFC press conference, some comments made by Justin Gaethje over fighter pay and whatnot. Oh, last thing on the boxing tip. Clapback Thursday. Oscar came out. And of course, with everything going on between the lawsuit with Virgil, he absolutely went past that, flew by that, didn't even address it, and went straight to his good friend Dana White and Zuffa Boxing. That's going to happen Friday at the Fountain Blue, like I mentioned. And he comes right out of the gate saying that Dana was promising this, a different ring, no belts, only their belt, only the Zuffa belt. And he comes right out of the gate saying that, first off, he doesn't know anybody who's on the fight card. He goes, I don't know anybody on that fight card, which I think is bullshit because he does follow boxing, and I'm sure he knows some of the names. That's just Oscar being Oscar. But then he mentions Jay Opataya. Jay Opataya signed with Zuffa Boxing, but they are going to allow him to try to fight for all the titles to unify in that division. And Jay Opataya is a huge name. But it makes sense for Dana to do that. Why would you bring in a big name and then be like, yeah, you're not going to fight? We're not going to allow you to try to unify the titles. If you can get a big name like Jay Opataya, have him unify the titles, and then bring them all back to your promotion, Zuffa Boxing, that's huge for Dana. That's smart business for Zuffa Boxing. So I really don't know what the clapback was about for Oscar clapping at Dana for making that move, because Oscar would make that move. That's just good fucking business. And I know he's saying, oh, they're not going to play by the boxing rules, and he's trying to take over boxing, but he's doing boxing things. Of course, it's good fucking business. Why would he not do that? And I get where he's saying that, Dana was saying he's going to revolutionize boxing, but at the end of the day, you have to do good business. You have to do good business for this promotion to grow, and that's good fucking business by Dana White. And he pretty much just went on about that and, wishing Dana luck in a sarcastic way. But that's it for this episode. I'm going to keep it boxing on this one. I'll do another one with the UFC and break that stuff down. The press conference, maybe a couple more betting lines that just came in as far as prop bets. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the bell so you get the notifications. Thank you guys once again for watching. I love you guys all. See you on the next one. Peace.